Hello, we are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headline. HOTspots' 40th edition is out now, featuring Bobby Iman, Miss Florida FI pageant, Golden Girls, Leo Harley's fitness tips, La Puta Nota's anniversary, and much, much more.
Connecticut's new ad campaign invites LGBTQ visitors, highlighting inclusivity and queer-friendly spots. It happens following Florida's recent removal of queer travel resources.
Aetna faces a class action lawsuit in Connecticut for denying facial surgeries. These surgeries are deemed necessary for gender dysphoria.
The 2024 Democratic platform emphasizes strong LGBTQ rights, while the Republican platform is notably silent, with minimal focus on queer issues and restrictive transgender policies.
Jacqueline Wilson, now a celebrated gay icon, explores same-sex relationships in her adult novel, Think Again, reflecting on diverse life paths and evolving sexuality.
Good evening, all. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, that we now have more than 9.5 million views. More than 500,000 of you have watched this show in the last 60 days alone. Thank you. Monday, September 16, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in queer news, you will see it and hear it.
HOTspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a non-profit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed specifically for the queer community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, HOTspots magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the queer and broader community.
All right, let's meet tonight's anchors here at Queer News Tonight. Let's begin by welcoming anchor Christopher Barnhill. Christopher is a native of Washington, D.C., an HIV activist, and a community leader. If there's one thing you gotta know about him, Brandy Norwood is his queen.
She is. Thank you. Welcome, Brandy is in a new movie, The Front Room. So definitely go see that. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm just going to see it this weekend.
It's so good.
It is?
It's so campy. It's so campy. All right. Let's now welcome anchor Buddy Frey, a longtime South Florida resident. He supports so many of our local nonprofit organizations, such as Julian's Fountain of Youth and the Stonewall National Library, Museum, and Archives. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Everything's going great.
Hey, that's good to hear.
All I have to say, people, is please vote. Vote, vote, vote.
Can't say it enough.
No, vote.
All right, now let's welcome Nico Cales. He is a passionate learner and leader, and he loves connecting with people, exploring new places, and creating meaningful memories. Nico is currently pursuing an MBA in marketing. Get it? I love that.
Yes, thank you. Glad to be back. You know, Monday, feeling it. Gonna drink some orange juice and hit the ground running this week.
Wah, wah, Mondays. Next, let's welcome Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 7 books of poetry. He's an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of print and online publications. Hey, Gregg.
Hello, Doc. Hello, kids. How's everybody doing? So good to be here. Monday. Let's welcome our anchor, Dr. Julio Capo, a board member of the Stonewall National Museum Archives and Library. He's a history professor at Florida International University and the author of the book, Welcome to Fairyland, Queer Miami Before 1940. Welcome, Julio.
I love whenever someone has to say welcome to Fairyland and keep a straight face. It makes me like...
A great title.
All right, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headline. The LGBTQ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for Monday, September 16th, 2024. Let's begin this evening by queering up the worldview. Watch these historic broadcasts from Alpine Europe starting tomorrow, September 17th through the 26th. Queer News Tonight, the leading LGBTQ television news, is set to continue its groundbreaking coverage with a 2-week broadcast from Europe starting tomorrow, September 17th. One of the highlights of the broadcast is Munich's gay Oktoberfest. This special broadcast will also include Bavaria's fairy tale-like Neuschwanstein Castle, which, by the way, is the inspiration for Cinderella's castle in Disney World, Austria's famous Sound of Music Mountain, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, and the Italian Alps in Bolzano. Tune in for 2 weeks of historic and inclusive coverage beginning tomorrow. Next, let's queer up HOTspots magazine. HOTspots celebrates 40 years with exclusive features. Grab your free copy today. HOTspots magazine is celebrating 40 years with a special edition. The magazine is already on stands and you can grab it free of cost. Inside that magazine, you'll find exclusive interviews with Bobby Iman, spotlighting the 52nd annual Miss Florida FI pageant happening October 6th and 7th. Plus, don't miss a special feature on the Golden Girls at Broward Center running through September 29th. And an interview with Vince Kelly, who plays Blanche. Stay fit with Leo Harley's Hot Bodies and check out Bobby Iman in Kings We Love. You can also find out how La Puta Nota is celebrating 12 years on September 15th. Grab your free copy now. I love having to say La Puta Nota any chance I get. Also, I've heard such awesome things about the Golden Girls. Everyone's just kind of talking about how cool it is, and the pageant is always an incredible event. I love attending.
I think I'm gonna go see the Golden Girls. I've been seeing it advertised all over Facebook, and like it looks like it's gonna be. Golden Girls is like one of my favorite shows. It's such a hoot. I love Blanche. I embody Blanche. So I think it would be good to kind of see this on stage too.
Check it out.
It's kind of meta too that the Golden Girls is being performed in South Florida, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm the only one that feels that way.
Well, next, let's queer up the USA View. After Florida drops LGBTQ tourism page, Connecticut jumps in with Everyone Belongs. Connecticut has launched a new ad campaign promoting itself as an inclusive destination, targeting LGBTQ visitors who are frustrated by recent changes in Florida, after Florida's tourism website removed its queer travel section. Connecticut responded with digital outreach inviting Florida's LGBTQ community to explore what makes Connecticut a welcoming alternative. Anthony, that's correct, that's his name, the state's chief marketing officer said, "Our message is clear. In Connecticut, everyone is welcome." The campaign highlights queer-friendly businesses, events, and communities throughout October in ctvisit.com. Florida's actions under Governor Ron DeSantis have drawn criticism for erasing LGBTQ visibility. According to Keith Blackburn of the Greater Fort Lauderdale LGBT Chamber of Commerce, it's just disgusting. Several states, including Colorado and Illinois, have reached out to queer travelers. Connecticut, citing its legal protections and inclusive climate, aims to stand out as a destination where diversity is celebrated. Anthony says, we want everyone, particularly those in Florida, to know they'll always find acceptance here. Now, this story it has both pros and cons for me because, first of all, I am disappointed the governor has done what he's done by having them take out the gay travel section. However, the gay community needs to be here and it needs to show its presence here. In South Florida specific, we are very open and very well accepted here. So we can't lose that status. I welcome Connecticut. I think Connecticut's a beautiful state and I welcome their inclusivity along with Colorado and Illinois. But this isn't an us and them thing. We can be in all four of those states, and we need to be in all four of those states.
Right.
So I welcome that Connecticut is being so vocal about it. But I still think Florida needs to remind itself of the strength of the LGBT community, especially in Broward County, where we have Wilton Manors, and we're very public.
Well, yes, and thank you so much to Connecticut and any other state
Exactly.
that wants to welcome us. But for those of us who live here, many of whom depend on the influx of the tourist trade, governor death sentence is only hurting Florida, as he approves something as short-sighted as this. So,
And he won't be here forever.
no, how many more years? Like another year, maybe?
Another year. We can get through this. We can do it.
Longest year in history.
We can do it.
But it's like, really, you remove the gay tourism from the website. Like, how petty is that? It's like, first of all, I probably didn't even know that even existed. But to be like, I'm going to remove this, is just like, okay, don't you have other things to do? Once again, school shootings. Like, we could be focusing on key issues that are important instead of just removing tourism. And, it's not like the gays aren't having their own websites and putting it out there. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you're only just giving us more incentive to do what we always have been doing, which is figuring out ways to go around anything you try to block from us. Because we're here, we're queer, might as well get used to it.
They did it, quietly. That is, like, no one had noticed that they had removed it. It might have been months before. And, like, I in no unclear terms, the state of Florida has relied on what we could imagine today as LGBTQ tourism, that is, even before that term existed, for over a century. Like, it's actually been a central part of our economy for a long, long time. Like, this idea of what happens in Florida stays in Florida, or like, kind of
Well,
Las
we helped
Vegas
rebuild
to this day.
Miami. We helped rebuild Fort Lauderdale.
Literally.
And Wilton
Key
Manor.
West,
And
and
we
parts
built
of
Wilton
Orlando.
Manor.
Right.
That is, like, to imagine, it's not just like telling a story about who's welcome and who's not welcome. It's also really bad for business.
Yeah.
And it's just...
No, it's just short-sighted and it's petty. That's all it is. That's just he's feeding his base with that the dissolution of that particular page. But Broward County has a strong page. Palm Beach County has a strong page. Miami has a strong page. We're not going anywhere. I just welcome the fact that Connecticut is being so sweet to say, hey, come up here. So...
What do we do in Connecticut, though?
Bring your long underwear.
If you build it.
They will come.
There's lots to do in Connecticut. It's a nice
Okay.
area.
I've been there one time for a training. Aetna Insurance sued for denying gender-affirming care. A class action lawsuit claims Aetna violated federal non-discrimination laws. The plaintiffs argue Aetna's refusal breaches the Affordable Care Act's protections for gender identity. The lawsuit that was filed in Connecticut highlights Aetna excludes facial surgeries deemed medically necessary for gender dysphoria, even though the company covers these same procedures for other conditions. One plaintiff, Bina Gordon, had to pay $35,000 out of pocket while another faced $50,000 in costs. A third plaintiff, Kay Mayers, has been unable to afford the surgery. Explaining the importance of the procedure, Gordon said the lawsuit could help people envision asking for their needs to be met. Lawyer Gabriel Arkos stressed that facial surgeries can impact safety. Your face is so visible. It's one of the first ways people will try to identify what gender you are. Despite Aetna spokesperson Alex Kipnis stating that the company is committed to supporting the LGBTQ community, the plaintiffs alleges Aetna discriminates against transgender patients by labeling these procedures as cosmetic. This case comes amid growing pressure on insurers regarding gender-affirming care, supported by medical groups like the American Medical Association. The plaintiff's lawyers argue Aetna's policy creates barriers to essential health care for transgender individuals, affecting more than 70,000 people across the U.S. I think about the many Black and brown people, transgender individuals who may rely on these type of surgeries to be able to, to feel comfortable in the body that they are destined to be comfortable in. Excuse me. Stumbling over that, but denying them coverage and calling it a cosmetic is just such it's really insulting, because these surgeries cost a lot of money, and then we know that people who can afford to just drop $35,000 do not look like me and do not look like the many people that are across the America. So I think that to say that you support LGBTQ community verbally, but not showing that in your coverage is just lip service.
Well said. I mean, just touche. I also we know how disproportionately violence and discrimination affects trans people, especially trans people of color. That's not cosmetic, right? That is mental health and actual
safety,
physical health and safety. To say that this is cosmetic is just transphobia, right? I mean, there's no question about it.
And calling it just cosmetic as well is just it's hurtful for the trans community. And, trans people, they don't wake up one day hey, I just want to be trans for fun.
Right.
It's something that is a part of them, and it hurts a lot that
it's extraordinarily difficult to begin with to undergo. That is the people just imagine just walk into a doctor's office and this, it's almost like there's more nuance in an episode of Family Guy than than there is an actual real. Well said, Nico. That is it's years and years of a lot of counseling, a lot of internal and external assistance, absolutely.
Well, let's also, I'm thinking about this in terms of a reality issue. I mean, I agree 100% with what everyone is saying here of the importance of it. But the whole issue of transgenderism has begun in the last 5 or 6 years. It's a new topic. It's not a 40-year-old conversation. It's not an 80-year-old conversation. It's a relatively new topic. We just had a story where Connecticut is being so welcome into the gay community. I am hoping that as important as this lawsuit is, that the insurance company will realize how they have missed the opportunity to do the right thing. And instead of fighting the lawsuit, they'll make the changes that are necessary, because there's always that first lawsuit. It sounds like this is that lawsuit. So I'm hoping, as troubling as it is, and as difficult as it is for those people who want and need that surgery, I'm hoping that this is the only time we have to go through that hurdle. And we can sit here and say, okay, we've learned our lesson, because everyone has to learn about transgenderism. We have to have that conversation with everybody.
Trans people have been using the courts to gain rights since easily
but
the
this is the first
1960s and 70s.
Okay,
before.
but I'm just saying, but it's become a political issue in the last 5 or 8 years, so it's on the forefront.
Longer than
Yeah,
that.
I'm not denying the history. I'm not denying the history whatsoever, but I'm just saying it's an everyday conversation, and that's where we are right now. And I mean it's an important conversation, but I am hoping that Aetna will stand up and say, you know what, you're right. This shouldn't be. We're going to make the changes, and these people have the rights to have their surgeries.
Well, maybe not in my lifetime, but someday we may actually live in a country where evil and deplorable insurance companies aren't denying care while raking in the bucks.
Wow,
Yes.
that's something
That's
we can all agree on.
Because I know my insurance premium is high.
No, but I do think this is, and I'm hoping that the importance of this conversation and the importance of this lawsuit will help break the barriers for all of the other states.
And it's an important conversation this is the LGB as well. That is for them to kind of stand up with our trans brothers and sisters, with our gender nonconforming friends, to say this is, just because one of us receives health care, right, that we have to make sure that we all do. Right?
Exactly.
Everyone.
Exactly.
And we paying for it.
And also that. Yeah.
Next, let's queer up gay culture. Both major U.S. parties moved left on LGBTQ issues. The 2024 platforms of both major U.S. political parties offer significant insights into their stances on LGBTQ issues, one through vocal advocacy, the other through marked silence. The Democrats' 2024 platform, largely mirroring the 2020 vision, showcases a strong commitment to LGBTQ rights, Under Vice President Kamala Harris, the platform continues to highlight achievements such as the Respect for Marriage Act, the reversal of Trump's transgender military ban, and the expansion of gender-affirming healthcare. It renews promises to pass the Equality Act, protecting queer adoptive parents, and combat conversion therapy. While many Republican-led states have introduced bans, Democrats firmly pledge to protect the rights of parents and doctors to make healthcare decisions for transgender youth. The 2024 Republican platform, on the other hand, is surprisingly sparse on LGBTQ issues, particularly concerning gay, lesbian, and bisexual rights. In sharp contrast to the 2016 platform, which strongly opposed same-sex marriage, this year's document offers silence. The only queer-related focus in the GOP platform is on transgender issues with promises to combat gender indoctrination in schools and taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries, and restrict transgender participation in women's sports. While far from supportive of transgender rights, Trump has taken a more hands-off approach to same-sex marriage. This shift has made room for Republican groups like the Log Cabin Republicans, who represent LGBTQ conservatives, to gain a more visible presence. In the ongoing cultural wars, the Democrats reaffirmed their progressive commitment while the Republicans quietly stepped back from previous stances on marriage. Wow, that is a mouthful. But first off, it's kind of interesting to see on the political field how Democrats are more focused on the LGBTQ rights, and I think Republicans are a little bit more focused on the transgender community. They have just like this weird fascination with them. So, yeah.
It's the divide and conquer, and let's make them an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the 60s, it was gays. Then it became lesbians. Then it became people of color. Well, it's
always been people of color.
People of color. But I'm just saying.
It started there, though.
The Republicans have found a divide and conquer mentality.
I have to say, I find this story odd because the idea that the Republicans have moved left is just a red herring.
Yeah.
Like that is like silence is a position. To not say, I mean, and also Project 2025, even though Trump officially, makes very clear that is not, his, no one believes it. And so many people in his administration had a wrong draft.
And his name is in it.
His name is mentioned.
The idea they're like, this is left for the Republicans. Left of what?
Yeah.
Left of like super, super far right?
Yeah.
And again, silence is a position, and this whole idea that it can kind of be misreading to be like everyone's kind of moving left. No, people are very much on the right in this position, and they are Republicans. Like, in no unclear terms, this is not of like everyone is just kind of getting better. But
it also makes the argument that only people who are gay or part of the LGBTQ community are only Democrats. There are definitely some LGBTQ Republicans that need to stand up for their own rights, but why hide in the shadows? You're doing exactly what the conservatives want you to do, is just to be, like have your rights and your issues not be, stand up for. So I think they need to come out and speak up against, like, hey, we're here too. No matter if you're Democrat or Republican, you're LGBT, you're part of the community as well, and you need to say something.
Maybe Nate Silver can ask Peter Thiel.
I don't know who that is.
Vote as if your life depends on it, because
it does.
My friends, it does.
It does.
Next, let's queer up lesbian culture. Lesbian British author Jacqueline Wilson embraces her gay icon status. British author of children's books, Jacqueline Wilson, who is known for her candid portrayals of childhood struggles, has embraced a new role as a gay icon since coming out in 2020. Wilson shared with the BBC, quote, "I'm very touched to be thought of as a gay icon. It's an absolute delight," end quote. Though she admits, quote, "I can't quite see myself rampaging around with a rainbow flag," end quote. Wilson's recent novel, Think Again, marks her debut in adult fiction, exploring same-sex relationships through the lives of Ellie Allard and her friends as they hit 40. Reflecting on the novel, Wilson notes, quote, In real time, the girls would be hitting 40. That's a significant age where you have to make big decisions, end quote. The book portrays realistic outcomes for its characters, emphasizing that there's just not just one path nowadays. Wilson hopes her work will encourage readers to embrace diverse life choices. She acknowledges, quote, "We've definitely become much more grown up," end quote, highlighting the evolving understanding of sexuality. Wilson's earlier works, which address issues such as mental health and domestic violence, aim to offer comfort and understanding to young readers. I think the thing that I love the most about this story is that Wilson, an author of many books, has been in an 18-year relationship with Trish, a bookshop owner.
Aww.
Sounds like a perfect match, right?
That sounds
I
like
love
a movie.
That's so lesbian.
It's a hallmark.
I love that. I love that.
I've never read a Jacqueline Wilson, and now
Neither
I really want to. And I have to say, I love, to me also, that's just what being a gay icon is, the kind of humility here, too, is just like, that is, I just want to tell real stories, textured stories about people's experiences and just like real lives.
But what I
Yeah.
picked up as important here is she's having a normal life. She doesn't
Yeah.
she's not feeling the need to sit there and wave a flag in your face and you know, and do the cartoon things that sometimes the
Based
community
on
has to do.
stereotypes
Right.
or, like,
She's just
tropes.
like,
Yeah.
okay, this is my wife. We own a bookstore. I write books. You know, it is what it is.
Textured lives.
Yeah,
like,
this is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love that.
and nobody has said anything bad about it, and nobody made an issue out of it. I mean, that's my idea of a perfect
We
life.
appreciate you, Jacqueline Wilson.
All right, next, let's queer up gay culture. It is time to celebrate St. Patrick's Day in Savannah and Georgia's Golden Isles. Get ready for a springtime adventure with nonprofit HOTspots Happening Out Travel Club. Discover the charm of Savannah and the Golden Isles of Georgia on this 4-day journey. Experience Savannah's famous St. Patrick's Day parade with reserved seats and explore historic Jekyll Island and St. Simons Islands. Enjoy the vibrant floral blooms of the region and immerse yourself in the rich history of these stunning destinations. This trip not only offers incredible sightseeing, but also supports a nonprofit cause. Book now at happeningout.travel. Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
That is today's news for the queer community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your family and friends. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of HOTspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Julio Capo, and on behalf of these awesome LGBTQ reporters, this awesome crew, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Christopher Barnhill, Buddy Frey, Nico Cales, Cales, and Gregg Shapiro. We will see you all daily at 8 p.m. We remind you that the presidential election is now just 49 days away. Stand up for equality, rights, and representation. Make sure you're registered and ready to cast your ballot. Let's make history and let's vote for a better future.